listening to the IFF TV podcast.
Hello, McDoris Football Fan TV. This is the player ratings from Republic of Ireland 0, Hungary 0, or Hungary 0, Republic of Ireland 0, whatever way you want to say it, in Budapest. I'm joined by Ger Brown. We've just finished the watch along there, Ger. Overall, the game itself, I mean, I know the scoreline's 0-0, but for me, I could take a lot of positives out of this. What about yourself?
100%. I agree. I thought it was a good, solid performance. He's factoring everything in of a long season away from home against a team going to Euros with home fans there. I thought actually, even though Kelleher had to make a couple of saves in the second half, I thought we became much more of a threat ourselves in the second half. Balls over the top, constant problems. Could have nicked at the end of it with a little bit more luck. Look, I know it's a results business. It was only a friendly. Stephen probably needs to win matches to win people over, but you can't fault that performance tonight against reasonably good standard opposition. Plenty of positives to take from it going forward. And hopefully now we can kick on. It's going to be a fresh start next season, albeit a qualifying campaign. We might have much to play for. But look, you have to be happy enough with that 90 minutes to play tonight.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that we didn't score is probably the only disappointing thing. I think overall, in terms of we defended well, our keepers made good saves and all. But we'll fly through the lineup. I just give our player ratings really quickly then, because we've got other content to get out there, and you have to do the pre-match or post-match press conference as well. So I suppose with Gavin Bazunu in goals, I'm going to give him a 6.5, and he just gets a 0.5 for this excellent save he made in the first half. But he didn't really have a whole lot to do in the first half. That's the only reason he gets the 6.5, and I suppose in many ways that's a good thing. He's kind of got that rating. That's from me anyway. I don't know what you'd give him, but I suppose just every time I've seen Gavin Bazunu, I've been impressed with him so far. And he's one I'm really excited for, see how he kind of grows over the next number of seasons and years to come.
Yeah, I don't think you can fault him. I'm not sure if we were having the debate and watch along. I'm not sure if you can quite say it was a clean sheet, but if you want to go down that route, you could say it was his first clean sheet as well for Ireland, which is good from a positive. Like I said, it was just the nature of the game. The first half wasn't that many chances. He didn't have much to do. Produced that good save about 5 minutes before half time. Obviously, it seems to be a pre-match agreement. He was going to get 45. Creevy was going to get 45. But the length of time he was on, he did his job, did all he could do. Obviously, it's hard to give him a big rating because he only played half the game. So I probably agree with you. I'm going to give him a 6.5 as well.
Okay, so we're in agreement on that. Then right back Matt Doherty, or what do you even call him a right back in this scenario? But I'm going to go that way anyway. Matt Doherty, I suppose, again, he's... For me, he struggles to impress me in an Ireland jersey, and I don't know if it's the way we play, maybe doesn't suit him, because he's obviously a very good player, but we just never seem to get the best out of him. I've never seen him really have a good game for Ireland. I know he scored that one goal against Denmark that time, but I've never really seen him have a good game or really, put it to teams and really show what he can do from an attacking point of view. Now, I know I can appreciate he's playing right back and we are ultra defensive most of the time, but in this new Kenny team, I haven't really seen the best of him, and I think I'm just going to give him a 6, and that's kind of more from default. He didn't do a whole lot wrong in that sense. He probably defended well tonight, but going forward, he didn't give us a whole lot. He didn't offer a whole lot, in my opinion. But I think if I was to give him a 5, it'd be quite harsh, because again, at the end of the day, he didn't do a whole lot wrong.
And that's actually the rating I'm going to give him is a 5. And I think it's just because we still have this expectation because of his Wolves form in the past, and because he's playing with one of these supposed big clubs in England with Spurs. We're almost expecting this big kind of performance to kind of come. And again, I agree with you. He didn't probably do an awful lot wrong. He was actually involved and was providing good support down the right, and we had attacks in that second half. Sometimes the delivery could have been a little bit better. Maybe a little bit kind of slopping the ball, but you can't say from a defensive duty he was ever called out, he was ever exposed or cleaned or skinned or anything else like that. But I still kind of, maybe just because I have this kind of expectation of him, I expect more from him. Might be a bit harsh, but I think overall, like, I'm still just going to stick with my area opinion. I'm going to go with the 5.
Oh, that's fair enough. So I suppose then we'll bring it to the left side, and then we'll go back to the centre backs. Then we'll just do it that way. So James McLean, again, I thought he was played better again than Doherty. On the left hand side, I thought he was better again tonight. Quiet enough, but I thought he was just better. when you look at Doherty, you don't really see him in the game. But when you look at McLean, even when he's quiet, you can still see he's in the game, and he kind of imposes himself a lot more than say Doherty, even though it's not maybe his natural position. I thought, look, he done okay, but again, he didn't do a lot wrong. So for me to give him a 5 or anything like that would be harsh. So I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I said to you before, I probably see a lot of 6s in there myself. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but maybe he could have imposed himself a little bit more. But that could be said about Doherty. It seemed like a new formation we were trying out as well. So yeah, shouldn't be a starter for me in that position. I think if Enda Stevens is fully fit, he gets the nod there. I think he's a natural kind of wing back anyway. But you know, they're both getting on in years anyway, so we probably have to be looking more in a kind of longer term for a replacement there. But I look, he done himself no harm over the international window, bar the Andorra goal. I think he's had a decent window considering he wasn't playing before this.
Yeah, I think similar to kind of Doherty, from a defensive duty, I think he was fairly okay. Never really kind of exposed or anything else like that. Done grand, done fine. Probably the big difference, I think he did offer a little bit more going forward. He put a couple of good crosses in, one in the first half that someone should have got on the end of. And we talked about as well in the watch long about playing the balls over the top, and he was the first one to do that. I think it was into Adam Eade in the second half. Like, so he seemed to have just a little bit more, as you said, like you noticed in the game a little bit more because he was maybe that little bit more effective in the final third. But I thought, like, when you factor in kind of the way the game was, maybe him being out of position, maybe I was a bit harsh on Doherty, and I'm going to be a little bit generous to McLean here, but I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay, well, Lenny seems to agree with you there in the comments at the moment. He said McLean, some good crosses, ran his bag off.
That's secretly me typing away.
Yeah. Yeah, so look, I give him 6, you give him 7. I'm trying to be balanced here as well. You know, that's what's like, you could say 5 because they didn't do a whole lot, but 5 is considered a bad rating, and I don't think anyone actually played badly. Then in defence, I suppose John Egan, captain in the side again for the second game running. I'm probably going to give John a 7. I thought he battled well, maybe lost possession a few times, but the main job of his is to stop the ball from going in the net. I thought he did that. And I thought the three of them actually together, I'd probably give them all a 7. I just thought together they looked really comfortable together. They all liked each other's game. And yeah, I struggle to think, bar maybe losing the ball a couple of times, but I mean, they did create chances going forward as well. I mean, Darragh O'Shea was joining the attack. Shane Duffy was hooking balls around the corner to Adam Eade at one stage that got him in behind. So I think for me, I'm going to give the 3 central defenders a 7 rather than kind of go in through them individually. I thought they all had similar games. They would do what they were expected to do. And again, Darragh O'Shea for me, another player who's come in there and has looked like he's played international football his whole career. You know, how many caps is he on now? And he just looks like he's going to be there for the long haul as one of our main centre backs, and fair play to him.
Yeah, I think I'll be very much in agreement there on the 3 centre backs. Well, my only thing is I might just give Egan a 7.5. Agree, which I think once or twice, especially remember in the first half early on, you give the ball away sloppy. And obviously, we'd probably be talking about an 8 or a 9 rating if that header hits the back of the net instead of the crossbar. But he got a couple of great blocks and a couple of great tackles. And it was just a standard kind of typical performance we've come to expect from John Egan. That's why, fingers crossed, you know, performances like that is why we're hoping he's going to be still playing the Premier League next season. Thought Shane Duffy, you know, even though it's only a friendly, but I think because of the season he's had, would have been pressure on him. But I thought, you know, it was like Shane Duffy of old again in Ireland shirt, got the RT man of the match, against solid, composed. Just one time there, I think, remember we were kind of a bit of ping ball playing around the ball in the back, a bit messy, but you know, you could blame 2 or 3 players for that. But Duffy, I think, gave one.
Maybe a lack of sharpness that could have been too.
He gave one very straight pass, but other than that, I don't think he can kind of pick faults. And again, Darragh O'Shea, I think when it comes to, if you were to pick an Ireland player this season, he's definitely going to be, I think, someone that's going to be in the shortlist. I think he's been outstanding, a breakthrough player, very, very solid. Like you said, like showing maturity beyond these years. Like you'd kind of think that like him in the back three, like right, Egan and Duffy, they'll probably have to carry this lad small, but he's well able to stand up on his own as well. Again, for me, along with him and Duffy, they get a 7, and I'm going to give Egan a slightly higher rating of 7.5.
And would Egan be your man of the match, or will we be coming to your man of the match later on? Give it away.
Yeah, I think, well, without giving maybe too much away, but probably giving a sneak preview into his rating, for me, it would be between him and Jason Knight. Obviously, Kelleher, I think, would be rate highly, but again, he was only on for 45 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. I suppose then we'll just move it on. Josh Cullen, I think, got a 6 for me. Again, it was neat and tidy on the ball, popped into pockets, tried to give the ball off simple. Good ball in for the Egan chance as well. I thought some of his set pieces, not all of them, but I thought some of them were quite good, and it gives us another option now in other games to know that he can take free kicks and set pieces if we need him to. So I think Josh showed up tonight, showed a good performance, and again hasn't really let the team down since he's been in the first team and starting games. I think we've all been calling for him to do that since he went to Anderlecht, and now since he's been in, I don't think he's let the side down at all, and I think he'll be a mainstay in that midfield for a long time, and barring injuries and so on.
Yeah, he was always someone coming through the 21 level that looked a good prospect, and now we're starting to see a senior level, as you say as well. Age is still on his side, so fingers crossed, barring injury, he's going to be a mainstay in that team. Only slight, maybe little criticism, but I think it could happen to any player because in the season friendly, he just seems to maybe fade away a little bit towards the end. But in general, I thought he was solid in his role. As you say, he shows a new side of his game, side of his set piece deliveries, brilliant delivery for Egan's header in the first half, and even some of the second half weren't bad. It was just a case of players just didn't get on the end of them, but they were going into the right areas. Again, solid, neat, tidy, just consistent, does that job quite well. Again, like I said, I don't even think it's criticism, I think it's understandable, just faded off a little bit towards the end, but still a 6 as well for me.
Sorry, I was just seeing a video from the FAI there, just Shane Duffy giving his jersey, and you won't be able to see it through the screen, but he giving his jersey to the Irish fans, and just applauding them and stuff. So that was nice to see. Nice to
after everything he's gone through as well,
yeah. So then Howard, I suppose. For me, Howard was. I don't want to keep nitpicking at him as being like the player who hasn't really performed, because I know he scores goals for Swansea and all, but I think he's playing in a different position to Swansea to be able to kind of compare in that sense. He seems to be just a central midfielder for us. And again, for me, as a midfielder, you want your midfielder to impose themselves on the game. I think Malumbi did that a bit more than him in the second half. I'm just going to keep it as a 6 again. I don't think he was terrible. Like I couldn't pinpoint any mistakes he made, so I'm gonna give him a 6. But he was quite average in my opinion tonight.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and that's why I'm going to go just a little bit below and give him a 5. And he was taken off quite early. I think it's nothing kind of against him, but his replacements, you could just notice him a little bit more. I thought Jason Malumbi had a good impact on the game. Now he started off quite well, Howard, and again a couple of good deliveries, a couple of good kind of plays, but maybe a bit like Matt Doherty, thinking like, as a senior player, more experienced player, you're kind of expecting him to kind of do a little bit more. As you kind of just said, like he was a little bit kind of anomalous, and it's kind of like, as you said, like then Jason Malumbi comes on and straight away he's making kind of things happen. So probably maybe through no fault of his own because of that, but I think I'm just going to give him a 5.
Con Chronic there says lots of mistakes from Howard. Maybe I missed them. I'll have to watch them
maybe
again.
well,
I was checking the comments and stuff as well. So maybe that was the case. I'll have to watch it back and I'll let you know on the final word if that was the case. Then just we've got who else have we got there? Jason Knight. 7.5 for me. Thought he was again a really shining light. Gave us a lot going forward. Gave us a lot of energy. Who would often break up counter attacks and win the ball back for us. Unlucky again not to get an assist. Brilliant ball in the second half, a great whipped ball in when we thought he was going down a dark alley with nowhere else to go. Great ball into the box, and unfortunately I don't think either could get on the end of it, but I think he's really shown his quality for Ireland. I think again, like Darragh O'Shea, I think he's going to be a player that we're going to rely on over a number of years now going forward. Still hard to believe what age he is, and again, some of these players who've probably played tonight could probably put themselves in the shop window now. In the summer, someone like Jason Knight, who's obviously at Derby, who are lucky to stay up in the Championship, and I don't think that's his fault. So maybe Derby will look to cash in on him, but I just hope that if he does go somewhere, that it's the right move for him. But what would be your? I know you have a high rating for Jason anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 7.5 as well. I think it'd be kind of a bit much to give anyone kind of an 8 in this game, where still at the end of the day, the end of the day, the final third product maybe just wasn't quite good, but. No, I think Jason can walk away. As you said, he's been a struggling Ireland team this year, struggling Derby County team, but he can still walk away with his head held high. Fantastic season. Well, not a breakthrough season because we knew about him, but I think he's taken his game to another level. But just his energy levels, he's always getting stuck in. As you said there, one stage, he was trying to get a cross in on the left, managed to swing it back in, getting the right. Wonderful cross. Just kind of the way he kind of can play himself into games and know how to kind of maximize his own kind of ability and stuff like that as well. Again, just maybe a little bit kind of final third could have been a little bit better, but yeah, he's up there with Egan for me. Is high contender for man of the match with 7.5.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that, to be fair. Then the last two, then I suppose Troy Parrott and then Adam Ida. So I give Troy, I'd probably give him a 7. I thought he tried to get things going for us, and he did try, run at them, and he was trying to play balls in and stuff like that. He just looked energetic, and I think those 2 goals he got the other night really helped him and showed what he could do with the Ireland jersey. So I think going forward now, is that seeing that, the best of him. And I just hope now that he can kick on from this international window, because he's come in, he's done well, he's looked lively, and he put up to a good Hungarian team in terms of their defensive players and stuff like that. Again, I think this young lad has bags of ability. I think Knight's probably shown a bit more potential, but maybe because of the way he's kind of taken the route through his football, that he's maybe getting a bit more of an opportunity, whereas obviously Troy's gone places and struggled. So let's see now over the next while how Troy does. But for me, I'm going to give him a 7, and I think he has a lot to build on from here in a positive sense.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I was actually surprised he was taken off. I thought he was having a good game. Maybe, as you said, there was maybe a little bit of fatigue that kicked in after playing Thursday as well. But
he was getting kicked up and down the pitch as well.
But I was just going to say, even though he wasn't getting shots away and kind of maybe sitting and playing stuff like that, but he was fouled about 3 or 4 times in decent areas in the Hungarian half, which kind of shows that they were obviously worried about him and kind of didn't really know what to do other than just illegally take him out of the game as such in that instance. So very, very good lively impact. We know all about kind of his struggles this season at club level, but I'd never seen him playing those 2 games. And going from what I've seen for the last 2 games, plenty of positives to take away. He's still only 19. Again, the problem is because we've heard about him since he was 15, everyone kind of thinks, right, he got 2 goals a night, that's it, he's just going to score regularly for us. He probably will go on to score another 20, 25 goals for us, but he's not going to score every game. So people just need to kind of just relax a little bit. But I think he can definitely take a lot away from that. Like I said, I think he's probably put himself slightly in the shop window. If it's not going to be with Spurs, hopefully maybe another Premier League, Championship club, even if it is League One. He's still young, he can work his way up the ladder, but he can take a lot away from this, and he walks away with a 7 rating for me. Not that probably means much to him anyway.
Yeah, look, again, as you say, I was surprised that he got taken off so early too. I think, look, he's shown what we've wanted from him for so long, I suppose, as fans. I was a bit more patient than other people, probably. I think you were too, but there was a lot of fans expecting him to be, Cristiano Ronaldo, the second coming, but that wasn't the case. Just as a young lad I know there in the comments, Rory Glennon Augustus says, how are you, Paul? How are you, Rory? How are you? Gillian Kenny gives Duffy a 10. And Lenny says, no, not quite up to this level against Andorra, or up to his level that he was against Andorra, but working like a dog, 7. Yeah, I think it's fair enough. I think he was a little bit better than that, but can't argue too much with that. Then lastly, in terms of the starting 11, Adam Ida, I'm going to give him a 6 because I thought he battled really well, considering he spent a lot of the time back to goal, and it just seems to be a really poxy shift playing up front for Ireland, because all you do is getting battered from behind, as you saw in the first half, and he went down holding I think it was his calf or whatever. And although maybe he didn't get maybe as much chances as he wanted, I thought he'd done well with that one chance that he took from the edge of the box, or just out from the box, sorry. And I thought he'd done well in that case, and he did try to make things happen for us in terms of holding the ball up and stuff like that. But this is a good Hungarian defence, and that's where their strengths were. So unfortunately, he was the man who was tasked with trying to turn them over. I think maybe against another side, and he have someone maybe playing him in behind and running onto it, because he's fast and he's powerful. As I mentioned, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Lukaku, where he's not good with his back to goal, but you put him in front of a goal and running at players and getting into the box, I think he's quite good. So I got to give him a 6, and people might say I'm generous with the 6s there, but I genuinely, looking at it overall, I don't think anyone had a really bad game at all. I don't think you could say anyone had a bad game.
Yeah, people are going to say you're generous. Probably going to say I'm even slightly more generous. I'm going to give him a 6.5. We actually probably thought at half time it looked like he was going to be taken off, because he looked like he was done. He went down with we thought was an injury, and he said he was getting kind of kicked. And again, you're kind of thinking, is he still just not quite ready for this standard of football? But credit to him, I actually thought he had a really, really good second half and showed really kind of good character. Like I said, got that shot away, which is good. You want to see our strikers take on shots. These are the men we expect to get as goals, and fair play for these kind of taking on. And a lot of time as well, when we played the ball out over the top of the defence, he was the player receiving receiving the other ends of the pass, and he showed good hold-up play, good kind of touches to bring on the control, showed kind of good composure. grow into the game. I think it was probably one of his most encouraging displays in an Irish shirt. Like I said, maybe he kind of took a bit of lessons from the couple of kick-ins he got in the first half, and it kind of stood to him. And even by the second half, and kind of made him a little bit more of a bit of a kind of character out of him. But like, fingers crossed. Look, he knows himself that it was a disappointing, frustrating season for him for a couple of reasons. We don't know what's going to happen to him. Will Farkner give him a chance in Premier League next year? Done last season, a little bit older. But not a bad showing for him. A good second half after a disappointing first half, so 6.5.
Okay, then just looking at it then, so just the subs that came on. Kelleher, for me, I'm going to give Kelleher an 8. And I'm going to give him my man of the match because of those 2 saves that he made within about a minute of each other. And we would have lost the game without those 2 saves. An absolute cat and goal with 2 brilliant saves. And, it makes me excited for our goalkeeping situation over the next number of years. But he came in, he looked good on the ball. He looked like commanding. He took care of the defence. He spoke to them and stuff like that. A lot of comfortable saves other than that. But the 2 saves that he made were superb. So I'm going to give him an 8, and then I know people are going to go, how can you give your sub goalkeeper an 8 and be happy with the performance? But I actually was, like, in terms of on another day we win that game, and I think Kelleher pulled 2 great saves out of the bag, and Bazunu had 1 good save. But I think for me, Kelleher, he just gets the man of the match for me, and it's a good debut for him.
Yeah, I can totally understand why you've given someone like him an 8, because only for them 2 decisive moments probably would have lost the game. I give him a 7. Like, I don't think he done absolutely anything wrong. He was more busier than Gavin just because of the nature of the way he game. Made them 2 excellent quick saves. Even before that as well, he made a decent save from long range, and it was kind of a cross-come shot into the box, and he held it quite well. Looked very, very composed as well. We were kind of talking about, like, we thought after his kind of cameo performance at Liverpool last season, he looked like the number 1 prospect. Then Bazunu comes in and does well in March. You're kind of thinking, has he nailed it down? After that performance for him tonight, like, it's definitely going to lead to debate kind of going forward. But as you say, like, they're both young prospects. Next 10 or 15 years, we're going to be in safe hands. I'm going to be a little bit biased. Obviously, my Liverpool side coming in, I'm delighted to see him do really, really well. I hope Jurgen Klopp is looking at this and knows that, right, he's still going to be a solid choice for a number 2 next year if Alisson picks up injuries again and stuff like that. If they want to go down that route, if he's happy to stay there as a number 2. But yeah, solid 45 minutes and a 7 for me.
Okay, I suppose then just to kind of fly through, I mean, there was Horgan came on, Malumbi came on, and Manning. I'm not even going to give Manning or Ogbene a rating. I thought Ogbene was bright when he came on though, but
sharp,
they just weren't on for long enough to really give it a rating. You could probably give Ogbene a 6, considering the impact he made in the couple of minutes that he was on. He probably
could have been a 10 if he got a goal.
And an assist as well, almost for I think it was Collins. So yeah, I suppose the only one who was really on long enough, or the only couple were Horgan. I'd give Horgan a 6. I'm going to give him a 5.4. I just thought he struggled in this case, but he was kind of pushed as a kind of forward in this case scenario, playing the position that Troy was playing. I don't think he plays it that often, so I can see why he probably struggled. And look, he wasn't terrible either, but he struggled to get into the game, I think. And same thing probably with Collins as well. And Malumbi, probably give him a 6 or 6.5. I thought he'd done a bit better than Howrahan and got stuck in and got about the place a bit more. So I'm going to give him a 6.5. But I suppose out of those players, I'll let you kind of have your say. And Manning N/A, non-applicable.
Yeah, I agree with you. Manning just wasn't on kind of quite long enough. Collins, again, never really kind of seemed to have much impact in the game. So again, they didn't do a lot wrong, so I'll kind of sit in the fence and give him a 5. I was actually impressed with Jason Malumbi. I thought he brought real energy, real kind of purpose, driving things, win a couple of free kicks, showed that a little bit of fight, got a good block in as well at one stage, or block/tackle. Second half, I thought he had a really good impact, so I'm going to give him a 6. And yeah, I was disappointed with Darryl Horgan because I was singing his praises during the watch long. He usually always brings something to the party when he comes on. Not quite the same impact tonight, although he did play that lovely reverse ball in for the chance towards the end. So because of that, I'd probably bring his rating slightly up to a 5.5.
Who was the 5.5 for, sorry?
Darryl Horgan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I think that's really it in terms of the player ratings. I know we're in a rush to get off. So, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments on your ratings as well. Were we too generous? Were we too harsh? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe as always as well. And we'll speak to you soon. Stay tuned for the rest of the content. Gary has his at match reaction and 3 talking points coming out, and I'm going to do my after match reaction as well, so you can join me in the comments for that. Jer, thank you very much, and I'll chat to you later.
Take care.